All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Recording has started.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Dave Kauffman, and it is Thursday, and it's 2 o'clock. That means it's live time. And as people load up on live, we have several people here, 6 people coming on to the conference call, and just going to wait for everybody to load up. Hope everybody's getting ready for a nice weekend. I know it's going to get really cold here in Sarasota. It's going to get like 54 degrees. It's already kind of chilly outside. Let's see, probably 60 degrees right now. You northern people, don't laugh at me, because if it gets below 70, I get really cold. That's too cold. All right, so we got people coming on Facebook. Owen Chupp, Mervyn Yoder, and several others. Dave Crookshank. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about something I've never talked about this before, and I found this on the internet. It's the title is 12 Things Mentally Strong Entrepreneurs Do That Nobody Else Does. And so my question to you is, are you a mentally strong entrepreneur? Now, some people, that's a hard word to even pronounce, but it's even harder to spell. But what the word entrepreneur means is that you're a business owner that has taken a risk. I mean, there's a lot more meaning to it, but the entrepreneur is willing to step out in faith and try something new for the greater good of other people or for the business. So an entrepreneur is somebody that thinks outside of the box. So there are 12 things that a mentally strong person does, or an entrepreneur in your business, and this is a business talk, this isn't a psychology talk, but there's 12 things that they do. And Rebecca Robinson-Wolf, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Aaron Hirschberger, thank you. I'm going to be going across those 12 things. More and more people are loading up here on the conference call and also on the Facebook Live. If you're on Facebook Live, go ahead right now and share. That's the name of the game. And you know what, guys? I love to see the thumbs up and the hearts floating up, so keep those going. And then share this, but only if you're cool. If you're not cool, don't do it. All right, so here we go. 12 things mentally strong entrepreneurs do. And my question is, are you mentally strong entrepreneur? Heidi Herring, thanks for joining, and all of you on the conference call, thanks for joining as well. This is an article written by John Rampton, John Rampton, and I found the article on entrepreneur.com. And so here's the deal, you know, I'm going to the gym a lot, like 3 or 4 times a week. I'm really trying to get fit, lose some weight. I want to look really, really spectacular for the February 22nd and 23rd event. By the way, thank you, Rebecca, for purchasing the tickets. We're starting to sell tickets. And just so you know, you have Black Friday coming up the day after Thanksgiving, but before that is Small Business Saturday. So it's Saturday, and then, well, Friday is Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and then Cyber Monday. What do all of those have in common? Well, the answer is all of my tickets are going to be on sale for 20% off. And so those of you on the conference call line, those of you on Facebook, here's what you need to do. If you will go to the website, Edge Conference 2019, and when you check out, put the code ESB, E as empowering, S as small, and B as in business, ESB. And that will get you a 20% discount for any ticket for EdgeCon. All right? So I hope you can do that. And for those of you that are on the conference call that don't have access to the internet, just call our office and mention the code ESB, and we can sign you up that way. Okay? And the EdgeCon is a 2-day conference coming up February 22nd and 23rd. Mimi Schieffer, thanks for joining us. Steve Cohen, thanks for joining us. And anytime during this little call, if y'all have questions, you have a comment, please go ahead and and do that. And somebody on Facebook Live, just go ahead and type in edgeconference2019.com. That way and special code ESB. All right. Now that code doesn't work any other time except Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. So somebody just go ahead and type Edge Conference 2019 special code ESB. And Deborah Crowley, thanks for joining us. All right, so what I was saying about going to the gym, I'm really trying to get physically fit, but here's what I want to challenge you with. It's okay to get physically fit, but it's also you need to be mentally fit. Corey, Brian, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And so here's the deal. You have to work your brain out. You know, I work my muscles out. You're starting to get some muscles there. But I also need to start working my mental muscle, the brain out. So here are 12 things mentally strong people do from a business standpoint. Number one is they practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on their burdens, thank you, Eric Swigert. I appreciate it. EdgeConference2019.com, special code ESB. There you go. You missed the .com, but that's fine. People know it. Instead of focusing on the burdens or what they don't have, mentally strong people take stock of all the great things that they do have. In other words, they're thankful. They're grateful. They have a gratitude list. They practice gratitude. But the simplest way to start is just by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for every single day. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate it. EdgeConference2019.com, special code ESB. And again, that code will not work right now. It only works on Small Business Saturday, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. 3 days. All right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start thinking about 3 things every day that you're really thankful for. And throughout that day, just, give gratitude to that. You can also start a gratitude journal to jot down all the good things you're experiencing throughout the day, or adopt gratitude rituals such as saying grace before the meals. That's a simple way to show gratitude is saying thank you to God for providing your meal. All right, number 2, and again, we're going really fast through this list. 12 things mentally strong entrepreneurs do. Chuck, Zach, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thumbs up, lots of loves, and shares. That's what I like to see on Facebook Live. All right, here we go. Number 2, they say no. All right, now that's kind of different because we're taught to be yes people. Say yes to helping people. But here's what a mentally fit entrepreneur does. He learns when to say no. Researchers from the University of California in San Francisco show that the more difficulty you have in saying no, thank you, Ronnie, I appreciate it. The show that the more difficulty you have in saying no, the more likely you are to experience stress, burnout, and depression. And that's Travis Bradbury, PhD, saying no may be a problem for some, but not for the mentally strong. Linda Mast, Michael, Tricia, thanks for watching us. I appreciate it. Instead of accepting every social invite, or instead of accepting every opportunity that comes along, instead of saying yes to every little thing that comes along, start saying no a little bit more. That way, you can complete your own work and not overcommit yourself. So I just had this conversation. I was coaching a client this morning, and she kept saying, I need to do this. I need to do this for this person. And I said, no, I'm giving you permission to stop worrying about helping other people and start focusing on you and saying yes to what will help you. And I'm not saying don't do that, but don't neglect yourself and don't burn out yourself. Don't get yourself in such a tight wad that you can't say yes to the things that you need to be saying yes to. So mentally strong entrepreneurs know when to say no to things and people. Number 3, they overcome their inner critic. Let me ask you, who is your biggest critic? Who is it? Who should it be? Should it be your boss? Should it be your neighbor? Should it be your family? Should it be your husband, your wife? Who should be your biggest critic? I'm not sure that I have the answer to that, but here's what I know, that a lot of times I am my biggest critic. I'm harder on myself a lot of times than what other people are. And a mentally fit, a mentally strong entrepreneur overcomes their inner critic. In other words, they don't listen to themselves all the time. All right, let me just read and I'll explain it. If you think you're a failure, guess what? You'll probably end up failing. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you think you're a failure, you're probably going to end up failing a lot more often. Now, I also believe it works the other way, that if you think more successfully and you think more positive thoughts, you're going to have a much higher aptitude to succeed on a greater level. But what happens? What happens when you hit your thumb with a hammer? What do you say to yourself? I'm such a dumb idiot, I hit my thumb. Or do you say, man, I'm so smart, I didn't hit my wrist? It's all in the way you think. And so here's the thing, you have to think positively. You have to, I kind of imagine a negative thought person is on my left-hand side, or right hand, left hand, whatever, and a positive is on the other side. Who do I listen to the most? Do I listen to, because there's plenty of voices even in me. That's scary. You say David has voices in his head. Yeah, you do too. But you know what I mean. There are plenty of voices, plenty of things that are trying to criticize you that are inside of you. Like, I don't have what it takes, and nobody's going to listen to me. And I remember when I first started doing these Facebook Lives, I was like, what if nobody watches me? Now I don't care. I just get on and I talk. Justin Young, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Heidi Herring says, train yourself to think positive. That's right. As a man thinketh, so is he. That applies to women as well. So they learn to overcome their inner critic. They don't listen to the criticism in their own head. A lot of times they don't listen to the criticism out there, but they learn to think for themselves, and they learn to think positively about themselves instead of negatively. So instead of using that self-fulfilling prophecy to your advantage by believing let me just reread that. If you think you're a failure, guess what? You'll probably end up failing. That self-fulfilling prophecy is predicting your fate. Instead, use that self-fulfilling prophecy for your advantage by believing you're going to succeed. This can be a challenge, but it's possible if you pay attention to your thoughts. Don't ignore the negative thoughts. There's a balance here. Acknowledge them and then do something positive to distract yourself. Because why do we have negative thoughts a lot of times? It's kind of like warnings. It's like, hey, wait, we should think about this. And I'm not saying disregard them, but really acknowledge them and then do something positive to get your mind off of them. Take a look at the evidence on both sides by jotting down the good and the bad. You'll notice that some of these negative thoughts are irrational. Find balance. Rather than beat yourself up, look at your flaws as a way to improve. I think that's important, that we look at the areas that we're weak in and try to work on them. All right, so number 3 was they overcome. A mentally fit entrepreneur overcomes their inner critic. Number 4, they expose themselves to pain. And when I read this, I was like, I'm not sure these people are going to like this, because I want to tell them to expose themselves to pain. Muhammad Ali once said that he didn't count his sit-ups. He only started counting when it hurt, because those were the ones that counted. I love that. All right? You never will grow in your comfort zone. You have to learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And for all of those that are just joining us, I appreciate it. Give us thumbs up, hearts, and shares. Do it now, but not only if you're cool. All right? And we have a large number on the conference call and only 11 on Facebook. Roger and the rest of you that just joined us. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Muhammad Ali once said that he didn't count his sit-ups. He only started counting when it hurt because they're the ones that counted. Mentally strong people are willing to endure pain as long as there's a purpose. They don't go through a challenging workout, for example, just to prove how tough they are. After all, science has said that there's some truth to the old saying, no pain, no gain. So are you mentally strong? Are you putting yourself out there as an entrepreneur? Are you putting yourself out there to the place to where it's like, man, this could either make me or break me? It's powerful stuff when you expose yourself to the pain side of life, because you can only experience gain unless you go through pain. And I think y'all probably, saw me demonstrate the whole thing about your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is where you live most of the time. And how many of you, if I'd ask you, how many of your life is 100% perfect? I don't think there's anybody here that would say your life is 100% perfect. In other words, you experience some difficulties in some area of your life consistently. It could be financial, it could be relational, it could be your business is not doing well. So there's always that negative side. But then if I'd ask you if your life is 100% terrible, you'd say, no, it's not 100% terrible, because you experience some joys. You get a new client, you have a great family, you have great relationships. And so we're comfortable with a little bit of both. But what would happen if you have a pendulum that swings back and forth? I've done this several times. It works really well in person. I'm not sure how it looks on the screen. But what would happen if you, and we're comfortable with, let's say that this side over here is the negative side and this side over here is the positive side, and we live in that comfort zone. And basically we're okay if the pendulum swings over and gets a little bit of the negative stuff in life, the pain, and then we're happy when it comes over here and gets a little bit of the gain. What would happen if we push it out and expose ourselves to much more of the pain over here? Now, I'm not saying go out and make yourself put yourself in harm's way, but I'm saying take more chances, become a little bit more vulnerable, make that investment, build another relationship, expose yourself to the possibility of it not working, because what happens when you swing that pendulum over into that side and then let it go, what happens? It comes all the way over and it picks up a lot more gain, and I know my hands are way out of the shot here, but it picks up a lot more gain. So life is full of pain and gain. That's our comfort zone. We're okay with a little bit of pain and a little bit of gain. Well, I want more of everything. Christ said, I came to give you life and to give you life more abundantly. And if you want abundance, you're going to have to put up with more pain as well. And so mentally strong entrepreneurs will always expose themselves to more pain than the average person. They take more chances. And I'm not really talking about chances. I'm saying that they're willing to risk a little bit more, because you'll never grow in your comfort zone. Those of you that just joined us, thank you. I really appreciate it. Number 5, they create their own definition of success. That's what I love about entrepreneurialism. That's what I love about owning your own business. You get to decide what is success for you. Now, success it's different definitions for different people. And I'm just going to read here. When I started my first business, things were tough. This is not me. I'm just reading something here. Especially when it failed. To rub salt on the wound, I saw my neighbor purchasing new cars, or high school friends posting pictures of their travels, and you know how it is. You might be struggling, but you see your neighbors and everybody succeeding. For them, that meant they were successful. Even though my business failed, I was still successful. And I'm reading. I had an amazing wife and was able to pick myself back up. Today, I'm a successful entrepreneur. Why is that? Is because he didn't let his failures define his success. When you are an entrepreneur, a mentally strong entrepreneur, here's what kind of goes through your mind. And this You've probably heard this before. Live like nobody else so one day you can live like nobody else. All right? He says that's not to boast. My point is that the successful have their own definition of success. For example, I work with freelancers, and I'm just reading what this guy wrote. I work with freelancers who don't make what some would consider a lot of money, but they see themselves as successful because they're doing what they love with a flexible schedule. So being successful is not just having a lot of money in the bank or having a great business, because are you truly successful if you have a lot of money and you have terrible relationships? Are you truly successful if you have great relationships and have no money or no business? No. Success, I believe, is a well-rounded thing. It doesn't just hinge on business or money like so many people think. Number 6, they delay gratification. There's a well-known Stanford University study in which an administrator left a child alone with a marshmallow for 15 minutes. The experimenter, before leaving, told the child that she could eat the marshmallow. However, if she waited until he returned, she would get a second marshmallow. After 40 years of research, it was found that the children who waited experienced better outcomes in life. I found this so fascinating. So they did a test on a bunch of children, and they followed these children after 40 years, and the children that waited until like 15 minutes, they found that those who waited experienced better outcomes in life, including higher SAT scores, greater career success, and even a lower body mass index. That's crazy. Because instant gratification hardly ever lasts much longer than instant. Okay? So those that put off instant gratification and hold out for the long term, they have more discipline, they make better decisions, and it affects them all the way down the road of life. That's why people with mental strength are willing to put off gratification. You don't have to have it right now. That's, in our society, that's a big thing. A lot of people want to start where their parents left off, and they don't know how to climb the ladder. Well, here's the deal. How do you climb a ladder? You start at the bottom, and you go up, and you don't miss a rung. Because the climb to the ladder is what gives you the strength to stay on top of the ladder. But so many times we want to just take the elevator up to the ladder and stay there, but then we don't have the strength, we don't have the experience, the fortitude to stay there, because we wanted instant gratification. Number 7, they don't blame others. How many of you like to be around people that blame others? I don't. I say this all the time to my coaching clients, that unless you're willing to take 100% responsibility on what goes on in your business, you have disempowered yourself. If you always say it was their fault, you have taken the power away from you to fix it. But when you say, yes, I'm responsible, now you have empowered yourself, you have given yourself the right to fix it. Because you'll never fix something if you're irresponsible. So they don't blame others. Mentally strong people never, and I mean never, blame others for their mistakes or shortcomings. They take full responsibility for their actions. Doing so means they don't give power to others. See, I never thought about that. When I say it was their fault, I'm giving them the power. I'm giving them the power. So they don't give powers to others, remain stuck, or become negative people. They don't blame other people. They take responsibility. Are you a mentally fit, a mentally strong business owner, an entrepreneur? Number 8, they practice realistic optimism. Mentally strong are optimists. But they also understand that they can't be overly optimistic. As Dr. Mara Karpel explains, it's unproductive to believe that challenges will magically disappear or goals will be manifested without taking any action in the real world. That's where a lot of people, because they don't want to climb the ladder, they don't want to learn the life lessons to be successful, They just say, I'm just going to be positive and everything's going to come into place and everything's going to happen. Well, how many of you know that owning your own business, being an entrepreneur, you only hear about the successful entrepreneurs, the ones that are like on the Shark Tank and the ones that are multi-million, the ones that made it big. But you don't hear about, and you didn't know about them when they were, small, when they were struggling, when they were putting everything on the line. That's why I love going to conferences. That's why I love listening to mentors, because they've been there, now they're here. And they practice realistic optimism. We think entrepreneurialism is you start a business and boom, it explodes and you're at the top. Nobody has ever done that. There's some very successful people on the Facebook Live right now, but I guarantee you, they did the grind early. They worked hard. They had discipline, and they set goals, and they took action and took massive action. All right, all of you that just joined us, thank you. Andrew Moon, Merle Miller, and several others. I couldn't see who all came in all of a sudden, but I appreciate it. Mentally strong people practice realistic optimism instead. This means they take into account the challenges facing them and focus on what they can do to accept or overcome these realities. I've found that most start with schedule things ahead of when they need to be done. So if you need something to be done, schedule it. Put it on your calendar. I cannot live without things being scheduled. This way they are optimistic and have wiggle room if they schedule it right. All right, so number 9 is they acknowledge their limitations. We got to get going here, going fast here. They acknowledge their limitations. Although the mentally strong push themselves, they also know when it's time to throw in the towel, the proverbial tower. Valerie, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. They're aware of their weakness, and they don't hesitate to ask for help when it's needed. While some leaders are hesitant to show vulnerability, doing so enables them to learn more and become better than they were yesterday. Enhancing their skill set is more important than protecting their ego. So, I ask you, are you a mentally strong entrepreneur? Do you acknowledge your limitations? Because I tell people all the time, not everybody is your client, nor do you want them to be. That's a limitation that you need to set on yourself. We want to try to serve everybody. I don't like to hear when I ask somebody, what is your perfect client? They say, anybody. No, you need to define it. You have some limitations, and you need to understand that. Number 10, they don't compare themselves to others. The Bible says, don't compare yourself to others. I'm telling you here, don't compare yourselves to others. This article says, don't compare themselves to others. You're unique. You're special. You're one of a kind. So why would you compare yourself to somebody else? It's not fair to them or to you. Remember, the mentally strong are stingy with their time and energy. So why waste it on worrying about what others are doing? Feelings like jealousy and resentment aren't just exhausting, they're pointless. They're really pointless. Instead, they appreciate others and celebrate their accomplishments with them. They create optimism, which is a win-win for everyone. Wayne Ebersol, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. According to a Harvard University study, a sense of optimism may be able to reduce the risk from dying of major causes such as cardiovascular disease. Wow. So if you want to live longer, don't compare yourselves to others. Be optimistic. You're unique. Enjoy you. Number 11, they enjoy feeling scared. We talked a little bit about this. Most people run away from their fears. Okay? And it's little known fact, being scared, having fear, like terror in your life is actually healthy, and we're going to cover that in just a little bit. Most people run away from their fears, but not the mentally strong. See, you never grow in your comfort zone. Michael LeBlanc, my brother from another mother. Good to see you on Facebook. I appreciate you tuning in. Most people run away from their fears, but not the mentally strong. They not only seek them out, but they also enjoy the feeling of being scared. Now, I've often wondered, why do people go to haunted houses? Because it's a stimulation of emotion. And when you have stimulation of any emotion, you start feeling alive. You start feeling something. You stop feeling the negative. You stop feeling the payroll not being met. You stop feeling the feeling of overwhelmness. You stop, because when feelings are stimulated, that's why people enjoy being scared, because they're focused on one thing, and that's that emotion. That may sound unusual, but they realize that being afraid pushes them out of their comfort zone. As a result, they experience new things, meet new people, and learn more about themselves. There are also health benefits associated with fear. This is so fascinating. This includes keeping your brain vigilant and alert, balancing bodily functions like your immune system, and motivating you to accomplish goals. Fear is a powerful motivator. Fear is a powerful motivator. So you have to somewhat learn to be okay with being scared. You have to somewhat be okay with being outside of your comfort zone. You have to somewhat be okay by being in terror. In fact, one of the, who was it? The little short actor, he's really funny, can't think of his name, Chris I think it is. He tells the story of when he went skydiving. And he's right there at the edge of the airplane. He's looking down 15,000 feet. And he says this quote. He says, what was it? Something about your greatest accomplishment is on the other side of sheer terror. Something like that. So if you want great accomplishment, if you want to accomplish something that nobody else has ever done, you have to push yourself to limits that nobody has ever gone. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to be okay with being scared. Now, there's this fear of paralyzing fear, like something's after you, and then there's this like roller coaster type. Oh my goodness, I'm scared, and all of those. You'll never experience life if you don't experience a certain amount of fear. Have you ever been so fearful of something getting you, like scared, like not fear, like I don't think I can do it, but I'm talking about this is survival. Because when you're in that situation, you're focused on one thing, and that's getting through. And you feel so alive when you're scared. Most people run away from fears, but the mentally strong, they kind of live there. They kind of force themselves to go there because you learn new things. You have pushed out that whole comfort zone thing. Michael LeBlanc says, great information. Thank you. Doug Martin says, fear is an incredible motivator. It is. Last one, and we got to wrap this up. Last one is they respect and even like their competitors. Now this is a new one. We're kind of taught to kind of keep an eye out on those competitors, make sure they're not passing us up. But they respect and even like their competitors. Mentally strong people aren't afraid, intimidated by, or jealous of their competitors. This is huge. I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday about this. That, some people view me as a competitor to them. Some people view you as a competitor to them. Here's what I think should happen. In fact, they respect and even like them. Because you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. If you push your competitors away, it shows a sign of weakness. They realize their competitors can be their greatest teachers. They can learn what the competition did right or wrong. They can see what differentiates them and use that as inspiration for their next move. I'm going to give you an example. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, two tech giants here. They had a love-hate relationship. However, both men ultimately supported and respected each other, with Gates once saying, "I'd give a lot to have Steve's taste." And Steve Jobs admitted, "I admire him for the company he built. It's impressive, and I enjoyed working with him. He's bright and actually has a good sense of humor." All right, let's see. Becoming mentally strong doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth the journey. It can make you and your business resilient enough to withstand anything. All right, so again, I'm going to recap it real quick, then close it out. Number one, we're talking about 12 things mentally strong entrepreneurs do that nobody else does. Number one, they practice gratitude. Number two, they say no to certain things. They learn when to say no and what to say no to. Number three, they overcome their inner critic. They don't always listen to that little negative guy inside of you that says, "You don't have what it takes," or "You can't do that." You know, my dad was the perfect example of overcoming their inner critic. My dad wanted to grow strawberries in Georgia like they do down here in Florida on raised plastic beds, really straight rows. And he went back and told the county agent, "I'm going to grow strawberries in Georgia like they do in Florida." And the county agent said, "No, we're too far north for that." And Dad said, "Watch me." And he did. And he became the president of the Strawberry Growers Association in Georgia. He also decided he wanted to raise rainbow trout in South Georgia. The county agent said, "No, we're too far south for that." And Dad said, "Watch me." And he did. We grew rainbow trout in south central Georgia. He didn't always listen to the negative. Hi, honey. My beautiful wife just walked in the door. He didn't always listen to his critics or even to himself. He never allowed himself to criticize himself so much. Number four, they expose themselves to pain. You have to get rid of the comfort zone. You'll never grow inside it. You have to get outside of it. You have to allow yourself to experience some pain. They create their own definition of success. You decide what is success for you as an entrepreneur. Number six, they delay gratification. A mentally strong entrepreneur knows that success will not come immediately. They know that. And they're okay, and they actually prefer to kind of struggle in the beginning so they can build up to a great momentum. See, when you tell a story, you have to have the low part. You have to have the struggle. You have to have the accident. You have to have the terrible thing that happened to you. And then you also have to have the victory. I've already heard people say this tremendous story of like heartache and pain and relationships and bankruptcy and today I'm a business owner and I'm still struggling. And you're kind of left with like, oh my goodness, you took us way down there and then just left us. So delayed gratification, an entrepreneur knows that you have to struggle in order to be strong enough to climb to success. Number seven, they don't blame others. Number eight, they practice realistic optimism. Number nine, they acknowledge their limitations. Number 10, they don't compare themselves to other people. You're unique. Stop it. You're supposed to be unique. Number 11, they enjoy the feeling of being scared. There's something about it. It makes an entrepreneur work hard when they're scared. Number 12, they respect and even like their competitors. All right, so that does it. That is the 12 things that mentally strong entrepreneurs do. Let me ask you a question. Are you a mentally strong entrepreneur? Here's what I'm going to do. Let me close this out real quick. Just a real quick deal. People-centered leadership is still selling very, very good. And you can go to Amazon, you can call our office, and you can order it. If you want it signed by me, you have to call my office at 813-580-8920, and they can take your card there, and it's a little charge to ship it with a signature on it, but it's worth it. It's my signature. Anyway, if you don't want it signed, you go to Amazon.com and just punch in people-centered leadership. And don't forget about my other book. It's called Freedom to Succeed. And good news, my third book is about to be out. It's a little pocket guide. It's called Dave Kauffman's Little Book to Becoming a Big Leader. It's a little pocket guide. It gives you 10 things to do and 15 things not to do in order to be a people-centered leadership, a leader. And that's coming out in about 3 weeks. I'm super excited. My fourth book is being written right now, and it's going to be out sometime before February is what we're projecting. Don't really know the title of that book, but something growth, something about growth. I'm not quite sure. I haven't settled on it yet. Let's see, what else do I have to announce? We are going to be in, where am I going to be next? I don't know, Ohio, I think, at a Leaders Minded conference. And if you want more information on that, you can come. And it's not my conference, but I'm inviting you to it. So contact our office about it, and we'll get you that information as soon as we get the total info. We don't have it yet, so don't call us yet, but in the future call us. Let's see. I think that's it. I enjoyed myself here today, and I hope you did too. Ron Knepp, thank you, Heidi Herring, for saying that it was a good session again. I really appreciate it. I do my best every Thursday, if I'm in town, to bring you some things that can help make a difference. I do appreciate you guys listening, and all of the people on the conference call, thank you very much. God bless you on Facebook Live. Thank you, and God bless you. We'll see you soon. Take care.
This session is no longer being recorded. Goodbye.